The story occurs only in St. Luke's Gospel, but this Gospel is read not only on a Sunday of the year, but it's also read at services of Thanksgiving throughout the year. Having a service of Thanksgiving at St. Vladimir Seminary was also the Gospel read on Thanksgiving, that is Thanksgiving Day in November. I remember it especially well, not only because of the reading, but because of the sermon that Father Alexander Schmemann, who was dean of the seminary, gave. Was the last sermon he gave in the seminary chapel. It was about 1 month before his death, a little less than that. He said, "Everyone capable of thanksgiving is capable of salvation and eternal joy." A Western writer in the Middle Ages, Meister Eckhart, says much the same thing. He says, if the only prayer you said in your whole life was thank you, that would suffice. More than any other gospel reading, our gospel reading today reminds us of the importance of saying thanks, of giving thanks, the importance of being Eucharistic people. Say the same thing. The gospel is appropriate, of course, all the time. St. Paul tells us, writing to the Thessalonians, "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in everything." We should keep that in mind because we've just been through a season of the year in which it's sometimes difficult to do that. The holiday season is very hectic. For me, the hecticness extends over a longer period of time because at my little church in Bisbee, Arizona, it's on the old calendar, so I'm still in the Christmas season. It gives my wife and me an excuse for not having sent out Christmas letters and so on. But certainly you know what it's like. Shopping for just the right present, getting presents, forgetting from whom you've gotten a present, wondering from whom that strange present over there is. And then when I was young, my mother was very proper, having to write thank you notes to everyone who gave you presents. And when you had wanted a toy, you got a sweater, very much like the sweater you'd gotten the year before. And so you write to your aunt, Edith was mine, who did that. Thank you so much for the lovely sweater. What an unusual shade of green. You know what it's like. But let's go back to our gospel reading. We are in a border region between Samaria and Galilee to the north. Jesus and his disciples are on the outskirts of town. They encounter a group of lepers, and probably, given the circumstances, a mixed group of lepers, Jews and Samaritans, but they're equally outcast. They're equally unclean in the eyes of authorities, in the eyes of their fellow human beings. And they cry out, and they do this from a distance, because if you're leprous, continuing through the Middle Ages, early modern times, you had to keep a certain distance. You rang a bell so people would keep away and so that they would know that you were there and not get close. They cry out, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And Jesus says, "Go show yourselves to the priest." That was how you would verify a cleansing, the state of your skin, because it was a priest who had to verify that you were indeed now clean, if you had been a leper. And as they go, they are cleansed. Their skin heals. They are cured. And only one returns, and he is a Samaritan, despised by Jews, mixed race, mixed religion. And the gospel says, if I may quote it closely, one of them, when he saw that he was healed, returned. The word saw in Greek, very much as the word saw in English, doesn't mean just seeing with your eyes that those blemishes are gone. Saw means to realize that you have been healed, to realize, to understand that something has taken place. This Samaritan saw with the eyes of faith something that the others did not see. And he runs back to Jesus, because in Jesus he saw a new world in the midst of his misery. With a loud voice, says, he glorified God. It's appropriate to give thanks. Continues right away. And with a loud voice, then he fell on his face before Jesus, giving him thanks. There's a parallel here between glorifying God and falling down before Jesus, giving him thanks. The healed man recognized that for his healing, in the one who had healed him, he had encountered God. He had encountered God, not just an itinerant miracle worker or a magician or a very good physician. Jesus responds, "Were not 10 cleansed? Where are the 9? Were not any found who returned to give glory to God, except this alien?" Here, Jesus is asking his disciples, and he's asking us, what do you make of this situation? He says to the man, "Arise, go your way, your faith has made you well." And here is another word, another phrase. Has made you well, the verb says, the word says. Has healed you, but also has saved you, has made you whole. Keep in mind that all 10 received healing of an obvious sort, were freed of their leprosy. But only this one was made truly whole, was made truly sound, truly to be what a human being is supposed to be. Only this one receives true healing. By faith he also finds salvation and eternal joy. 10 were cleansed, 10 were cured of their bodily affliction. Where are the 9? And it's not hard to remember. One might be saying, oh, this is fantastic. I'm so excited. I can hardly wait to get home to see my wife and children. Or, boy, I've got a whole lot of living to do. I'm going to get a graduate degree. I'm going to start a business and make a lot of money. Or other great plans for the future. I can't wait to find a publisher. This story will sell. Or a doubter. Well, maybe this is just a brief remission, so maybe I should wait to see what happens. Where are the 9? You get some idea. Someone might even have the idea of giving thanks. After I show myself to the priest, I'm going to sit down and write this nice man a thank you note. All 10 are cured. Only one is truly healed. Only one can see with the eyes of faith. Only one. Here's Jesus' words. Your faith has made you well. I'll add just quickly. Only 4 people in St. Luke's Gospel hear these words. Your faith has made you well. Your faith has made you whole. The harlot who poured out ointment on his feet, the woman with the issue of blood, blind man, Samaritan leper. All 4 were ritually unclean, people we should have nothing to do with. Not accepted by the religious authorities, not accepted by anyone else, not accepted by their Aunt Edith, even. For them, this was not a fresh encounter with God. For them, this was a chance to get back to life as it passes for normal. And that's very often our reaction too. We're happy to be over the election season, Thanksgiving, Christmas season, and getting back to normal and the routines of church life. That won't last long because Lent is early this year. Certainly, as I mentioned from St. Paul, we are supposed to rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in everything. I suspect that was true of the Samaritan, even before he was healed of his leprosy. Perhaps he'd already formed in his life the habit of giving thanks, even those years when he was a leper. Give thanks for sun, rain. Give thanks for the companionship of those lepers that you're with. Give thanks for those homeless with whom you're encamped. To give thanks everywhere and always. Peter of Damascus, not John of Damascus, I don't know if he's related, same city. Peter of Damascus says to give thanks for our universal gifts, sun, moon, light, but also for particular gifts, the particular gifts that each one of us has, because each one of us is gifted in some way. These, he says, include wealth, so that one can perform acts of charity, poverty, so that one can endure it with patience and gratitude, authority, so that one can exercise righteous judgment and establish virtue, obedience and service, so that one can more readily attain salvation of soul, health, so that one can assist those in need, sickness, so that one may earn the crown of patience. I was mentioning earlier that sermon of Father Alexander Schmemann on Thanksgiving Day a long time ago. He continued, "Thank you, O Lord, for the sufferings you have bestowed on us. They are purifying us from selfishness, reminding us of the one thing needed, your eternal kingdom." You can imagine, in our gospel today, if remission ends for all 10, the leprosy returns. It's easy to imagine the Samaritan continuing to give thanks in all things, at all times, for all things. Giving thanks for this wonderful encounter with the living God that he has had there in the borderlands between Samaria and Galilee. Where are the 9? It's hard to imagine them giving thanks. It's very easy to imagine them simply becoming bitter. Do we give thanks in everything? Do we remember the one thing needed, God's eternal kingdom? We'll be continuing with the Divine Liturgy, with this Eucharist, with this thanksgiving. Let us truly be thankful now for the greatest of gifts that we've received. Now, but also when we go out and to run into things that may seem more challenging and that need not seem like such a blessing when they first come our way. For what we get, for what we don't get, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in everything. Amen.